Okay, let me review the few important things from the last lesson. Okay, now the first thing I would like to mention you, and you should remember this. Like we have five tools of thinking. Okay, the most important one is the concept. Okay, uh, and then uh, connected or associated to the concept, we have images. Image, the association of concept to the images we call imagination. In, therefore, imagination is when you have a concept, you have a word or name, then you associate the concept or the word with some image. So that's why they call it like imagination. And according to Einstein, um, who is considered as the uh, cleverest man on the world, um, imagination is more important than knowledge. In creation, in creativity, uh, the the imagination play the most important role. That's why when you train yourself, you read books, you have to imagine always. Okay, and that makes your brain like better for creativity. Okay, the second thing is that you for the for each concept you have to associate the concept with a word. So that's why uh, language is also a tool of thinking. We think in terms of language, right? We have ideas, we have sentences. uh, all these things are form consists of words, and um, you can write a very good sentence if you know how to use the language. So the third tool of thinking is the use of language. The third thing is emotion. Emotion is very important, and emotion is can play important role in creating new things. Like when you write essay or a poem, or you draw a picture, or you paint a painting, or you sing a song, or you play like play music on some instrument, you need emotion to make it good. Without emotion, whatever you do, not good at all, right? So emotion is also a tool of thinking. And um, emotion, you sometimes you have to work out the bad emotion, because emotion can be good or bad. you know Good emotion can promote your creativity. Bad emotion can destroy the creativity as well. So uh, the art of controlling emotion is also important for you. The third thing is symbols. You work with symbols. If like you draw a block diagram, or you note thing, or you write formulas, mathematical formulas. That is the art of using symbol. Okay, symbol is also important. So we have five tools of thinking. The concept is most important one, and we have four other supporting tools: image, language, emotion, and symbol. Okay, symbol. A symbol is kind of mathematical thinking. Emotion is important is IQ, right? Language. So any smart people should be able to use the language effectively. Image, you can train your imagination by drawing or by reading poem or listen to music. But when you listen or seeing painting or like images or reading poem, you should imagine, you should associate all this word, image, emotion, and sound to the concept, right? And you should be able to uh, to note it in symbols. So in the future, like you should use all five tools of thinking. um, and with the concept you can do reasoning. Okay, so concept is word and vocabulary, when reasoning is logic and the art of persuasion. You use sentences to reason. Uh, so concept is belong to epistemology of philosophy, and reasoning belong to logic, and you use the logic to persuade people, to convince people to believe in you, and to persuade people to do things you want them to do. Okay, so the basic block of thinking and communication are concept and reasoning. uh, why do we need concept? Okay, so the concept is a set of objects. uh, Now, we how can we recognize an observed object? So that means we should experience the properties of the object, right? So you can distinguish, or you make difference between the instances of one object, or you can make differences between two different uh, objects. So, so the question is, how can we identify or discriminate or differentiate and compare the object? So, of course, you identify object by a set of properties. You discriminate, two objects by comparing them, and uh, point out point out the different properties, right? The The concept is a mental representation of real object. So we have a process of forming an object, a concept by following. First, we should start with observation. By observation repeatedly, the similar object, okay? If you want to form a concept of a cow, then you have to observe cows, right? The first cow, you observe it, and you note the properties of it, and you observe the second cow, and you also note the properties of the second cow, and they share the common properties. Sometimes there there are properties which are not very important, like the color or the size. However, you can note that like two different cows have similar properties, and then we can say that you have perception about cows by their properties. Okay, and then by doing that, you do abstraction by ignoring the, the, insignificant properties, but focusing on the important properties, and you have a abstraction. You say that the essence of this set of animals share the same set of properties, the essential properties, and you call this set of properties as essence of the set of animals, and you come to the concept of cow. Okay, the concept of cow is not a certain cow. It is like a container. You contain all the cow, right? You categorize the cow and you put all cow in this set, and you call this set as a concept of cow. The concept of cow is not a cow. You should uh, you should be aware of this difference, right? Concept of cow is something existing in your mind, right? In your head, and the cow is what exists in reality, in the life, right? It can move, it can uh, eat grass, so on and so forth. But the concept of cow in your head represent all the cow in the world. Okay, so I hope that you can distinguish between two things: the concept of cow and a certain concrete cow. Okay, and and then after you have a concept of cow, you can associate the concept with a word. Uh, for this point, concept of cow should be the same in the hand of English man, or Vietnamese man, or Chinese man. It should be the same, right? Because the same cow. However, the word can be different. We call this ba, and the Chinese can call something else. I don't know, and the English can call it cow. Okay, so a word mean a word signify the concept, denote thing, and mean something. Okay, means, which is abstract, denote, which is concrete. Okay, denote a cow with the attribute, like it has like certain attributes and relations, and the meaning means larger and more abstract. Okay, by having concept word, then we can identify people. For instance, here we have um, Paris Hilton, right? This, the same girl and another girl, which is not Paris Hilton, right? We can identify Paris Hilton from these images by observing important uh, properties of these girls, right? And then we can discriminate this girl on the right hand side with other girl in this slide. So by doing that, we compare, right? So this right hand side girl cannot be this girl, okay? Because uh, her face is different than the face of this girl, and we can differentiate, and by doing that, we can recognize, uh, like Paris Hilton and not Paris Hilton. Okay. The second step of like forming a concept, like we have perception of cow. By doing that, we can recognize the cow when like we observe like three cows, and then we have perception of many cows. However, then the fourth cow comes, and then we can recognize that is a new cow. Okay, then we can discriminate between cow, and we can also discriminate cow with dog and with other animals by looking at the properties. And then we can compare and we can differentiate two cows, okay? And then we can recognize the similarities of cow. Uh, and then we can say that, okay, this cow is similar to this cow. That's why we call both as cow, but cow is not similar to the dog. The similarities between mm, two cows are bigger than the similarity between cow and a dog. Okay, then we can identify similarity, the level of similarity, and then we can call attribute, right? Cow has a cow has different attribute than a dog, right? For instance, cow doesn't eat so many meat, so on and so forth. Um, and then after this step, we can always remember the cow to the cow we met in the past. You know, so we always recall our memory about the cow. And the fourth step, then we have abstraction. Now we don't think about a cow, a certain cow anymore. We ignore the details, okay? We retain all only essential properties and the many concrete cow now we can reduce to a abstract cow, which is not cow anymore, which exists only in our head, right? So we call this like the concept of cow, like by abstraction. Okay, so the cow now the concept of cow is finished, and then we associate the concept with a word. So word usually would represent or signify a concept. So when you present the concept, a concept, you should first present a word associated with the concept. Okay. When you present the word, after you presenting the word, you can define the concept and you can give fact or characteristic of a cow or of anything you want. Okay. And then you can present the example of the cow or example of triangle, right? If you're talking about geometry, then you can um present the non-examples, okay? So for instance, when you talk about triangles, okay, you give example, you draw a rectangular or right uh, triangle or isolations triangle, and you give them as example of triangle, and then you should give a non-example. For instance, you draw a square and you say that this is not um, a triangle anymore because it has four angles and four edges. Okay, so when you present a concept, you should define first. You give some facts, characteristic of that concept, and use a word, and then you give example, and also you give non-example. Okay, you should remember that. And then you can describe a concept by a set of diagram. Okay, which is, for instance, if you put all the cow in a set, a blue set, you say A, and then for some animal which is not a cow or not A, you put outside of this set. Okay, a point element outside of this set should not be the cow or not be A. And then we talk about classification. Okay, by by using diagram to describe a concept, you can use the diagram to classify the concept by, like the concept inside the circle inside another circle. Okay, we call this like subset or mother set or superset. Okay, so the specific concept. So, for instance, you have a cat. Okay, the superset of cat should be like animals, right? Uh, Mammal, and the subset of cat may be tiger. Tiger is one kind of cat, right? So the the orange set is the set of tiger. The the green set is the set of cats, and then the purple set is the set of mammal. So by doing that, you can classify the concept into subset to specific concept or generalized concept. Okay, this is the set of mammal. We can classify into two different sets, like carnivore or herbivore. Okay, carnivore is the mammal which eat meat, and herbivore are mammals who eat plants. Okay, then we have, like omnivore. Omnivore can eat both meat and plant. Okay. Okay. Now that is about the previous lesson. Today we learned something different, maybe more interesting. We talk about the philosophy of antiquity. Uh, that's mean the philosophy, uh, the ancient time philosophy, which was born in the ancient Greece. Okay, that's why we call antiquity. Antiquity mean in Vietnamese is cổ xưa, đồ cổ. The philosophy of antiquity is the philosophy of the ancient Greece. Okay, the ancient Greece was the cradle of the Western philosophy. All philosophy uh, in the West world was born in Greece. So Greece is the we call this Greece is the cradle of the Western philosophy. Now let us consider the a map of the ancient Greek city state. Okay, in the ancient time, um, around 1,000 to 500 years before Christ, there are many city states of ancient Greeks. You see, like here we have like Sparta. Okay, is we call like city state because each state becomes independent from other. It is not like in Asia. Okay, in Asia we always have a very big state which has many um, provinces and so on and so forth. But here in the ancient Greek world civilization, we have many cities, and each cities have independent autonomy, and they can be considered as different state. Okay, so the most important is Sparta and Athens. Athens is the most important. Sparta is the second one because they always fight with each other. Uh, Athens is the state of democracy, but the Sparta is kind of republic, uh, dictatorship. Okay, they don't have democracy. They raise their children as soldier. They respect the discipline. Okay, Athens respect the thinking, the knowledge. Okay, so two different attitude to organize the society. Okay, beside that, we have many other cities like Thebes, okay, and then Arcadia or different thing, okay. Thessaly, uh, on the right hand side, you can see uh, because on on the left hand side we have like Greece in the first uh, place, and on the left, on the right hand side, I'm sorry, on the left hand side is the Greece, um, and the right hand side is we call like Asia Minor, Tiểu Á. Uh, but in the ancient time, the Greek people also live uh, on the east coast of Asia, Asian Sea. Okay, there is a place called Ionia. Ionia is in purple. Okay, and then we have other places like Labos, and here we have Rhodes, Cyprus, Crete. Um, they have four different languages, or we call this like dialect, the same language, like Greek language, but they can uh, they 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 are a little bit different. That's why we call like dialect. Okay, we have four dialect, and we denote the dialect by the color, the the let us look at it. Okay, we have uh, yellow color places uh, was the places where people speak so-called Iolic language. Okay, so we see that they don't focus on one place. Okay, they are separate. Some of the Iolic people live on the north, some on in the middle of Greece, and the other one even live in the Asia Minor. Okay, on the other side of the sea. The the green areas like Arcadia, Cyprus, they speak so-called Arcado Cypriotic Cypriotic language. Okay, dialect. Uh, Dialect means that the language is very similar, however, still different. Like in Vietnam, we also have different dialect, right? On the south or in middle Vietnam or in North Vietnam, they speak a little bit different. Okay, and then in the pink places like Athens or up north in few other island, they speak so-called Attic language. Okay, and then in the purple places, mainly on Ionia or some places on the north or some places on the uh, west side of the sea, then they speak so-called Ionic language. Okay, so four different things. It is it is very important in understanding the philosophy tradition of uh, Greece. Okay, now, okay, on the right hand side, uh, we have Minor Asia consisted of many different states, uh, but they are like Asian people, right? On the left hand side, they are European. Okay, but a lot of um, a lot of Greek people live in Ionia. Ionia is on this side, the with important places for philosophy like Miletus, Samos, Ephesus. Okay, Ephesus. So let us remember the name of all these uh, city states. Okay, now we have like dialect. Okay, okay. Um, in the ancient Greece, the art, the science, and the architecture, thinking, philosophy was so developed that we always admired about the values the heritage they they leave for us. Okay, this is like so-called Acropolis in Athens right now. It is in ruin. However, it's still very beautiful, right? Very big house. It is now in ruin. I have been here one time. Very impressive. Okay, and the development of ancient Greece, the Greek civilizations. I miss one. Why? Okay, there are three major period of ancient Greek civilization. The first one is early civilization, mostly in Mino, in the Crete. On this map, it is Knossos. Knossos is the name of the city here. However, the whole island called Crete. And in this period, Crete was occupied by Minoan people, some kind of people. Okay, and Mycenae is this big island. Okay, which have Sparta, but there is a state city called Mycenae. Okay, Mycenae. Even now, if we visit Mycenae, we can see the old architecture. They can preserve it very well. Okay. The second period we call classical Greece. Uh, in this period, like art, literature, philosophy was like booming. And in this period, Sparta and Athens are two uh, big dominating city state, and they always fight with each other because they respect different values. Okay, as I say, Athens respect thinking and knowledge, and Sparta respect the courage and discipline. The two different things. Okay, two good, two set of good things. However, they are different. Okay, for people to create things, to think, they should uh, they should respect the freedom, which is in contrast with discipline and um, and courage, right? And in the third period, like when there was a king of Macedonia called the Alexander the Great. He conquests all the Greece, and also he took over also the Asia Minor everywhere, and they form a very big very huge empire called Macedonia Empire and Alexander the Great. Okay, let me show you where the Macedonia. Okay, Macedonia is outside of this Greece, uh, this Greek city state. Okay, uh, by in the first and second period of time, Greek people consider people living outside of this area as barbaric. Okay, so Macedonian is kind of barbaric, lower level people living on the north, on the south, or on the east. Okay, and but Macedonia becomes strong. Um, um, Alexander the Great and uh, his father, I, I believe the father was called Philip or something like that. Okay, they become strong and they took over all this area. Okay, um, and the father and the son also they learn philosophy in Athens. Okay, they acquire knowledge from there, and then they raise the very big army, and they become strong, and they took over all this area, and and then we call this period as Hellenistic age, like under Macedonia Empire and Alexander the Great. No more uh, city states. Okay, accordingly, the philosophy also developed in three the period. The first period we call pre-Socratic. Socrates is the name of the biggest Greek philosopher, and pre-Socratic means that the philosopher who lived before Socrates. Okay. The second one we call Attic philosophy, when philosophy mainly was booming in the Attic speaking area, as I show, right? Attic is one dialect of, of Greek civilization I showed before. Here, Attic, Attic means ping places, like mainly Athens. Okay, Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, three biggest Attic philosopher, they all live in Athens. Okay, there's few island also speaking Attic. The first period of philosophy, philosophy mainly was developed in Ionia. So that's why sometimes the first period is also called like Ionic stage, but they call it the pre-Socratic uh, in order to mention the name of the most respectable philosopher of all time, Socrates. And the third one is so-called Hellenistic great school. Okay, philosophy also uh, booming in in this period after Alexander the Great uh, has had taken the whole uh, Greek world. Okay, and he also pay a lot of attention to education, science, art, and philosophy. That's why there are many great philosophy school in this period. Okay, now we today we discuss about the pre-Socratic philosophy, but we can keep a break for 10 minutes and then we come back at 8:30. Okay. Okay, let us continue. Now we have to focus on this topic. Okay, I after this lecture, I will assign you some homework today, uh, and so that's why I ask you to pay more attention to this matter. Okay, we talk about Ionia. Ionia is a city state, a state. Okay, on the right hand side of the map. Okay, and on the east coast, on the west coast of the Asia Minor, and on the east of ancient Greek civilization. Ionia was the cradle of the Greek philosophy. This it is interesting that like Athens and Sparta, which are Attic and more developed city state, but philosophy was born in Ionia on you know, the the east side of ancient Greek civilization. And the most important cities for the philosophy was like first in Miletus. Miletus is here, okay, on the seashore, okay, down here on the south. Miletus, and then Samos. Samos is where in Miletus there was a philosopher called Thales. Like if you learn geometry, then you have also learned the name of Thales because Thales is associated to the theorem of Thales, right? I think in the eighth grade, you learn a lot about the Thales theorem application. Miletus and Samos. Samos. Most of you should uh, learn about the Pythagorean theorem, right? About the like the rectangular triangle where the like two edges square to sum of two square of two edges equal the third one, right? Square. Okay. Ephesus and then colophon and clazomenae. This the five cities where philosophy was booming in this stage. Okay, and and in the first period of philosophy development, philosophy in uh, the Greek civilization mainly was in Ionia. And they what they do? Okay, the central question of the pre-Socratic philosophy or Ionic philosophy was about the arch of things. The arch. What is the arch? Arch is um, Greek word is not arch. Is but archie. Uh, arch means origin or essence. Okay, but the Ionic philosopher focused more on essence than on the origin. So origin is something kind of temporal relation because which origin is something starting point. Okay, but essence is core of things. But they focus more on the essence more than the origin. So Archie uh, had two meaning, origin or essence, but the philosopher of Ionia focus more on essence than on origin. Okay, now let us discuss about essence. Okay, uh, well, we have a process from observation, and then uh, we come to the essence of thing, observation of thing, and then we think about it, we perceive it, and then we say that we have the essence, we perceive the essence of that thing. Okay, now the first step is of observation is that we use senses. We have five senses of, right? First, vision, we use our eyes. Hearing, we use our ear. Touching, we use our hand or our skin, to feel something is rough or something is hot or something is cold. Okay, we touch that thing, uh, and then we can use taste. Taste, we use our um, tongue, right? We taste something, then we say, very good, very, delicious, or uh, salty, or sweet, or sour. Okay, this is the taste. Okay, and then we have smell. We have to use our nose to smell things. So these are five senses. By using senses, then we have a sense about something, and then we call this process as observation. So observation is not necessarily only, you use our eyes. Okay, we can use any of five senses to observe thing. After we observe thing, then we collect the data about that thing. That thing is cold when we touch it, or it is hot, or it is rough, or it is smooth. Okay, that all by touching it, then we can decide. We have data about that. Okay, this is rough thing, and the other thing is smooth thing. Okay, okay, then we can taste. We use our tongue to taste. We say that, okay, this thing is salty, other thing is sour, third thing is sweet. Okay, then we can smell. Okay, and we can look at it. We use our eyes, and we listen to it, then we hear some sound. Okay, so by doing that, we collect a lot of information, a lot of data, and we note it down, or we memorize it and put it in our memory. Okay, then they believe that after you sense it, you collect the data, you compare the observed data with the data we observe elsewhere about other things. We compare them, and then we come to the truth. Okay, by forming concept and other thing, then we have the truth. Usually, truth is expressed in terms of concept, of words. Okay, so, but the question is, how can we come from sense data to the truth? How can we, when we can decide that we have the truth in our mind? Okay, so the truth is, the Ionian philosopher assumed that when we can perceive the essence of thing, they assume that, all things in the world have some essence. When we can catch the essence, then we have the truth, or we can say that we understand the thing. In order to understand thing, we have to master, or we should have enough information about the essence of thing, and they assume that there's something we call essence. Okay, and in that case, we have the truth. Okay, interesting thing, right? Now the question. is completely epistemology. Okay, câu hỏi về nhận thức. The first question is, does this inner core appear to the senses, or it is accessible only to the thought? The inner core, what does it mean, inner core? Inner core is actually is the essence, is the same, or the truth, or the understanding, or perception. So all these things, the result of understanding or perception, then we have the truth, and we have some concept, and we call this like inner core, which is not appearance of thing, but something essential. Okay, but however, when we look at it, we feel it, we taste it, or we listen to it, we cannot touch the inner core. And then how can we perceive the inner core, right? Essence thing is what we cannot see by our eyes. For instance, we can call like the essence of this the girl is good, okay, but we don't see her goodness. How can we can, because we have only senses to sense her, by touching, by sniffing, or by listening, or by looking at her, then how can we go to conclusion that we have already have already understood her, right? How can we say that? Okay, so the first question the philosopher in Ionia asked was that if we cannot have the direct contact of our senses to the inner core of thing, how can we uh, perceive the inner core? So the question is that does this inner core appear to the senses? Okay, even even though if you look at it, we try to sense it, and then we can say that, oh, this is good girl, okay, or we can do it by using our thought only. So this is the first question, okay. The second thing is that do the data of sense experience yield the truth? Okay, if we observe for a long time, sometimes we can argue that we don't have the we don't understand the girl or don't understand the man because we have not observed them long enough. Okay, if and we believe that if we observe them longer, we pay more attention to our senses, then we can know the essence and we can have the truth. Is that correct? Uh, Not necessary. Okay, that is the question raised by philosopher of Ionia. So here on the right hand side, I draw a diagram about that. We can use sense, and then we use sense to observe the object, and then we use also our thought based on the data collected by senses to think about the object. And which one is more important? Can we ignore the thought, or can we ignore the sense, like in order to understand the object? Okay, I think we should use both, right? So, but however, the Ionic philosopher already raised this question about uh, almost 3,000 years ago. Okay, now we uh, we have the example. Okay, if we look at it at this picture, okay, on the left hand side we have a lot of so-called precious stones, they are all stone. Like most of them have this almost the same chemical uh, components inside. Okay, here we have diamond, we have ruby, we have emerald. So all these precious stones, okay, they look are very different. But however, for instance, moonstone look very similar to the ice cube on the right hand side. This is ice cube. And ice cube is not similar to the water on the bottom, right? Because this is a solid material which is as solid as moonstone. We can conclude that moonstone and and the ice cube are very similar based on observation. Maybe they are almost the same. The essence of them maybe something solid and transparent, clear, but that is not true. Ice cube, the essence of ice cube is common with the water, which is not similar at all by appearance, right? Water is a liquid, ice cube is a solid, okay? In some sense, the moonstone and the ice cube are also similar to diamond because it is so clear, crystal clear, and transparent. Okay. However, the essence of diamond and the essence of carbon, which is like the coal, the black coal, which is black, not transparent anymore at all, and like, but these two material have the same essence because they are consists of carbon, you know, the black one. But you know, uh, by appearance or by looking at it, nothing common between coal, the black coal, and the diamond, right? But however, in chemical components, they are the same. Now, uh, this is example of matter, right? We take the stone matter. Sometimes appearance is not the same as essence. Okay, the essence of ice cube is water, and the essence of carbon of a diamond is carbon, right? Same as the gold. Now, we can consider example of man. Okay, now if we look at a man, we can observe him for a long time, and then we conclude that it's good man, and so on and so forth. We say that we understand him because uh, he is a good friend, and we have a very good time with him, and he behaved very well, so on and so forth. And all our senses say that he is good man. And if we think about it a little bit, and something is not logical, okay, like Harry Potter, okay, uh, when he had very good feeling about Professor Quirrell, but it turns out that Quirrell is not a good man at all, right? And he had very bad feeling about Professor Snape, and Snape is better professor than Quirrell. So the sense is not enough. Okay, then we have to use the thought. Okay, if Harry Potter have better thought, then he can discover that there's something not very good about Quirrell from beginning. Okay, so thought have to also to be used, but in fact, sense and thought are not still not enough in perceiving man, not enough. Okay, if you think very hard and you have all kind of sense, you can understand the man yet. Okay, nowadays they believe that you did something else to understand a man, because uh, man has sound. In order to perceive sound, you cannot use sound, you nor uh, and you can not use neither sound nor thought. You need something else to understand, because like man usually have a soul, has a spirit, and if you want to understand him, you need more. We call this like sixth sense, right? So this is the example of man. So the question about how to catch the essence of an object is still very difficult. Okay. Related question: what constitutes the inmost being of the thing which looks so varied and so different in our sense? Okay. For instance, in the case of diamond, for instance, okay, what's the innermost thing about carbon and about the diamond in order to conclude that they are the same? Okay, because the different, they appear to be very different. Okay, the we can call the essence of all this thing is they are consist of carbon atom, but that is what we it took a very long time to understand that. And is what we see any more than an appearance, an outer skin, and a surface? When we observe thing, when we see that thing, then we can go to come to the conclusion about it, or we cannot. So we can see something more than appearance, than the outer skin and the surface. Something is, like covered by, the outer skin, or some very beautiful clothes. Okay. Then how can we see the inner thing? Is the inner core of thing quite different? Okay. Now, for instance, we know that the inner core of the earth is something very hot. Okay, fluid, kind of fluid. Okay, it is very hot. It's about uh, few 10,000 um, degree. Okay, that's it. Like no one know about this, right? Before. So now we have a model to the to perceive a man. Okay, so for instance, we can imagine uh, an onion, okay, of many layer. The outer layer, the layer one, is like biographical data, like age, gender, name. Okay, age, gender, name doesn't mean anything, uh, because somebody can have very good name, or can be uh, boy or girl, and age, it doesn't mean anything. Okay, uh, so everyone has a name, uh, has an age, and has a gender, right? So and then we know, like about this guy just by appearance, by biographical data. Okay, the second step to perceive that man, we have to go further. We we know about preference of clothes. Okay, if uh, it is still just appearance. However, we cannot, evaluate the guy based on his clothes. However, the preference of clothes says something about his character, right? If it is his choice, okay, if he always choose, something very eye-catching, too splendid, like a red color shirt or pants. And in that case, like we can say something about his taste, okay? Preference of food or preference of music. Usually people, have, like some kind of mm, uh, uh, feeling about good feeling or bad feeling about the guy if we know the preference of clothes, preference of food, you know, and preference of music. Some girl fall in love to, some into some boy just because he, love the music she prefer. Okay, uh, so even we don't know, the inner core of that boy. However, uh, like his taste of music is very good, and it can make us, like have a very good feeling about him. Okay, and then third thing, we go one layer deeper, like we go to goal, aspiration. Now we can talk. Okay, he talked about his goal. He want to become a journalist. His aspiration about the, like environment or something like that. Okay, and the fourth thing, even goal are good, aspiration are excellent, but if you decide to live with that guy, sometimes we still have problem if we have some kind of religious conflict. Okay, so we can go one step deeper, like religious conviction. Okay, and after that, even we have the same religion, or even we don't have problem with his or her religion, we can have problem later on with deeply held fears or fantasies. Okay, and then the inner core is concept of self. Okay, that is very important. Okay, so by perceiving a man, we have different layers like this. Okay, then, like we see that, like philosophy is not, useless thing. We can use, like concept of philosophy to understand people, understand the outside world. Okay, for instance, like the the um, a branch of philosophy which belong to the metaphysics. Okay, it is the study or concern about what kind of thing exists, which is real or not real. Okay, what entities are there in the universe. The ontology derived from the Greek onto. Onto means being, and logia means uh, kind of science and knowledge. Okay. Okay. Now, in ontology, as a method to perceive thing, real thing, then we always have to catch the essence. For instance, the essence have a very good another meaning. Okay, perfume also the essence. Okay, essence mean bản chất. No? In Vietnamese, we understand that if we understand thing or people, then we can uh, know the essence of that people or essence of that thing or that sense of that events. Uh, but actually, we use the word essence for perfume also. We extract the essence from the flower to make perfume. Okay, for instance, here on the left hand side, we use the rose that like this means we try to omit kind of unnecessary thing which is not aromatic, not which doesn't have a good flavor. Okay, then we just extract the essence of flower, you know, and then it becomes a perfume. Okay, there's a flower, and essence is something inside the flower which make very good aroma. Okay, now that's why we can assume that thing consists of essence and appearance, which is inner core. Essence is inner core, and appearance is outer skin, which cover the thing, right? The essence is inside that. We can see by our eyes because we don't have contact with the essence. However, we believe that by watching, by using our thought, and by using reasoning, then we can understand the essence. Okay, and there's another way around. If we know the essence of something or some man, okay, then we can use reasoning, and then together with data from environment, and we can predict the appearance. So we so that's two way around. One thing is that from the appearance, from reasoning, then we can catch the essence. Okay. Second thing, that is based on the belief that if we know the essence, then we can predict the future appearance of the guy in certain environment. For instance, if we have a man and we say that we know the essence of him as a good man, as a creative man, okay, then um, we can predict, like, if he go abroad to study in United States, then he can uh, be very successful. He will be very successful by you because we say that I know this guy. There's no reason, like he cannot be successful in United States if he is so smart, is so good, so hardworking. So that means we claim that we know the essence of that guy. Okay, then we can predict, you know, you know something that thing we can deny because we use reasoning. We say that we know the essence, but sometimes our judgment is wrong. Okay, because it is really difficult to know essence of people and essence of things. Okay, that is why, like, the philosophy can always be useful for us to think. Okay, um, For instance, we can apply ontology in information technology. Like here we have a lot of, we have few, guys like Kim Giang or Chí Bình or, Hoàng Vũ maybe, I don't know, who are interested in information technology. And actually, in information technology, they use ontology as a method to represent things. And they claim that, okay, they assume that everything they can have a ontology means a set of concepts as, and a set of relationship between pairs of concept, and by knowing the set of concept and the set of relationship, then they can derive everything. Okay. You know, that subject. Okay. So in information technology, they use ontology in very narrow meaning. So um, we come to the definition of ontology. Uh, or relation, and then they have they can be a vocabulary of concept and relation related to some system. Okay, and in that case, ontology describe a domain knowledge. Okay, and they used to use it. Okay, and by knowing the ontology, we can predict or we can control the behavior of that domain. We have an example, okay, like here about the ontology, like for instance, we have the concept of a person, okay, but each person has a name or has an email. In information technology, usually we characterize person by name or email. We don't go deeply as deeply as knowing the other thing like uh, his hobbies or other thing. Okay. And based on the person, we have the concept of student. Student is a kind of specific kind of person, right? Subset of person. Professor is also a subset of person. So all these three concepts are related, and the relation between person and student is a right. Student is a person who studies, who attend the class, right? Professor is, is a person who do research or who give a lecture. Okay, so we have the third concept of lecture. Okay, so person, student, professor, and lecturer, all this form uh, an ontology. Okay, and then between student and lecturer, and between student and person, between student and professor, there are relationship. Each concept has some attribute. Okay, attribute is denoted by the green circle. Okay, concept is denoted by orange circle. Relation is denoted by arrows, right? And we have axiom, right? And so this about this diagram, then we have an ontology. If we know the ontology, we know how everything works, and we can use this ontology to describe all the activities of student, professor, and lecture, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we believe that in order to understand the real life, we need just ontology. Okay, so here we have ontology of shape. Okay, we have concept of a shape, and a circle is a subclass of shape, and square is also a subclass of shape, is another class of shape. Okay, so the the relationship subclass of, okay, like square is subclass of shape, mean the relationship between square and shape. And here we have the relationship of circle and shape, and we come to conclusion that circle and square are two specific shape. So this we call ontology of shape, right? Ontology consists of a set of concept and a set of relationship. Okay, and now in information technology, usually we form an ontology, and after that, we can put a layer. Like before we talk about, we perceive thing about a layer. If we go deeper, then we go to the inner core, right? So ontology is an approach to perceive the inner core of things. So the first layer is semantic layer. Okay. Second thing is kinetic thing. We can observe how the thing move, make action, and so on. The third thing is dynamic. Dynamic means when they uh, have, if we have action on it, we can create new thing. Okay, new thing can be born and destroy. That is dynamic layer. Kinetic, and everything exists and never destroy, but they can move, they can change. And semantic, we just create thing. They don't, static thing is semantic. So we have three approaches to use the ontology to describe our world. Okay, we have semantic world, have kinetic world, and we have dynamic world. Okay, now we have another, we call this like research onion. Onion mean, okay, we talked about onion before, right? Many layers. Okay, then each layer um, correspond to one step of doing research. If we do better research, we go deeper into this onion. Okay, first we have to choose a research philosophy. For instance, I have my research philosophy is positivism. Okay, I talk about positivism and philosophy of research later, and then we choose a research philosophy, and then we choose like research approach. Research approach can be like deduct, deductive. Okay, and then we choose a strategies, and we go to the third layer, and then we choose a method. Okay, the fourth layer, we go deeper and deeper, and then we go to time horizon, the cross sectional or longitudinal, and then in the most inner core is data collection and data analysis. If we come to this, like we start doing the data collection, and after that we go outside to present it to the time horizon, and then we use the method and so on and so forth. Okay. Now we have ontology. Ontology means that, okay, we say that if, like we perceive one thing, then we can see only the outside layer. If we don't have any other means. Okay, we have an onion that we can look outside. That means we don't have any tool to go to the inner layer. We have we know only the outer layer, okay, the first layer. But if you have some tool to take off the outer layer, we go to the second layer, and then we have even better tool to take off the second layer. We go deeper and deeper and deeper. Okay. For instance, we can use this model to study a man. Okay. Then first we study a man. We can study the behavior, the outermost layer, right? And after that, we can study his or her knowledge. Okay. The second layer, if we know that he is good, he is smart, then okay, we know better about him. Then after that, we can go to the third layer, like AI studies uh, aptitude, right? Aptitude. Okay. Then we go to the fourth layer is values. Okay. And then in the core layer, we know the personality and abilities. Okay. That, for instance, like people we can describe like a onion layer like this. Okay. And then we assume that he has a core values. If we know the core value, we can derive all the layer. However, the positivism say that we don't have the core. With the last layer, then inside it is empty. Positivism deny the existence of core, of essence. Okay. Uh, a lot of scientists accept the positivism, and they are not interested in finding the essence of thing, and they are interested only in in a certain layer. Okay, for instance, if we have enough tool to work with the third layer, then we just collect information about the third layer. That's it. We don't assume that we have, like the innermost core. So that is, but we talk about positivism later. Okay. Okay. Now we go back to the pre-Socratic philosopher. Okay. First, we go to the city-state of Milesian philosopher, mostly focus on the question, what is the essence of thing? Okay. Thing mean that doesn't mean that we consider only certain thing, of all thing in the world. Okay. Everything in the world has something essence. Uh, for instance, Thales is the mathematician who was the first mathematician who proved the theorem of Thales. That is why the theorem named after him. And he think that everything should, in the beginning, was water, and from water things are created, and by the end, when the thing is destroyed, it becomes water again. So water is beginning of everything in the world, and the end of everything in the world. Okay. And then it becomes water, and from the water things are born again, reborn again, and then like exist for a while, and it will be destroyed and become water again. So this is the first idea. Nowadays, if we look at this idea, we may feel that it is a little bit primitive, right? Very maybe wrong or primitive. We call this primitive. And then after him, there another philosopher say that okay, maybe the essence of everything is air. Everything comes from air, and when it is destroyed, it becomes air again. So essence of all our world is air. We should remember that, like the pre pre-Socratic um, philosopher answer the question of the archie of thing, right? The essence of thing. Archie of thing now, according to Thales, it is water. Anaximan is air. So inside everything, uh, any material are air. And inside, according to Thales, inside all material, the water, just our eyes cannot see that water or air. But they have two different choices, right? Thales say water is important. He has some reason to think that way. And Anaximenes say that everything is air, and he also has some reason to think so. But Anaximander say that there is some material called apeiron. Apeiron, everything is made of apeiron. And like Thales, Anaximander say that, okay, Thales is right in the sense that everything is made of something, but it is not water like Thales say, or not air as Anaximander say, but it is something quite different called apeiron. Nowadays, for instance, we know that everything is made of a very small particle called quark, right? Actually, quark is Anaximander apeiron. Okay, um, so in some sense, apeiron is right. Okay, but Thales can be also right depending on what he called by water. Right, his water is same as apeiron as well. That should be okay. But the common thing about Thales and Anaximander is that everything in the world is made of matter, some matter. Okay, according to Thales, that matter is water. According to Anaximander, that matter is air, and Anaximander is say that it is apparent. But however, according to them, they have a common opinion about everything is in the world. Like everything in the world is made of matter. Okay, some matter, whatever they call. But Pythagoras, like the mathematician who invented the theorem, Pythagoras theorem, they have different idea. Okay, Pythagoras was a mathematician and a philosopher at the city-state of Samos. Okay, I show you the Samos on the map already, right? Now Samos is here, is island. Um, and what Pythagoras say? Pythagoras agree that, okay, everything is made of matter, but matter is not enough. Form is important because the matter have appearance to us because it is in different form. And Pythagoras go ahead, one step ahead. And he say that not only form, it is a number. Okay, everything in the world should correspond to one number, and a number usually tells us something. And that's why Pythagoras believed that number had a soul in it, have a spirit in it. So for instance, number 5, he says 5 has some meaning in it, some spirit in it, and some, it can form a matter. That is so. First, he think matter is not enough, and then he say that okay, everything should have a form, and after a while he come to conclusion that everything uh, should have a number, and he comes to a new belief, and he set up a new religion to worship about the number. Okay, he say that everything is number. Okay, maybe it's good. It is mm, like tử vi, right? Uh, Horoscope believe that okay, everyone has a fate described by a number, right? So that is very similar belief. And Pythagoras also believed that there are another thing, not only form, not only number, but they should have a so-called a concept of harmony. So thing exists in material, and there's some number, but number should be in harmony. Okay, and the harmony can foster community, friendship, order, measure, and justice. Everything in the world should be in harmony. So uh, Pythagoras stress focus very much on the concept of harmony. Okay, now after Pythagoras, there's some another philosopher of Ionia uh, named Heraclitus. He said that okay, uh, matter, number, form, harmony not enough. Why harmony? And he say that okay, um, becoming or moving, everything is in motion, is a law of nature. That is also right? Now we know that everything uh, is in constant movement. Okay, and but he explained why it is like that. He said that because everything is made of fire. So this is the now we remember that. Okay, Thales say that everything is water, and as Nasiman say that everything is air, and now Heraclitus say that everything is fire. Okay, uh, we can understand that fire is kind of energy. Right now we have energy. Everything matter. Every matter has a like energy associated with it. We know that Einstein discovered the formulas E equal mc square. It is like the corresponding between energy and matter, right? But Heraclitus say that okay, he did not have the word energy yet. He just say fire, okay, and he say that everything is in motion, and that is the law of nature, okay. So okay, now we can we don't have more time. We can we have to finish here. Now we come to the Heraclitus, okay. Now is there any question about today lecture? Nào, Kim Giang à?
Ừ, thầy ơi, thầy giảng bằng tiếng Anh thì con không hiểu lắm ý. Thì thầy giảng sơ sơ qua giúp con bằng tiếng Việt được không ạ?
Cũng được. Thì thứ bảy thầy sẽ giảng lại bằng tiếng Việt một chút nhá, tóm tắt tiếng Việt chút. Thì bây giờ thầy sẽ nói dặn bài tập về nhà, đúng không? Thì hôm nay ừ, thầy phân công như thế này, tức là Diệu Anh với lại Kỳ Anh làm một cái research về the formation of concept, tức là quá trình hình thành concept phải trải qua những giai đoạn nào. Đó, các con có thể dùng Google rồi suy nghĩ thêm xem concept nó ra đời trong cái nhận định như thế nào. Thế còn Kim Giang, Hoàng Vũ có thể là các con tìm hiểu cho thầy về cái ontology nhé. Kim Giang, Hoàng Vũ viết một cái bài essay về ontology, cố gắng là nếu mà làm hoàn thành được trong tuần thì tốt, trước thứ bảy thì tốt, đúng không? Thế còn
cái the formation of concept của bọn con thì là làm cái kiểu gì ạ?
Thì các con viết một cái essay, viết một cái essay về cái topic là the formation of concept. Ok, tức là các cái khái niệm hình thành như thế nào, các từng step một. Thì trong các bài này thầy đã nói là có 4 giai đoạn rồi, nhưng mà mình phải viết kỹ càng hơn nữa, mà mình phải research kỹ hơn nữa và viết dưới dạng essay, viết có trình bày logic các thứ, lập luận cẩn thận nhá. Cứ thử viết đi, viết được thì là ok, mà không được thầy sửa cho thôi, không có vấn đề gì khó nhá. Cố gắng viết thô sơ mấy cũng viết được, nhưng cố gắng là thứ bảy xong và gửi sớm cho thầy thì là thầy sẽ sửa. Thế còn Kim Giang, Hoàng Vũ sẽ viết về ontology nhá, tức là viết tất cả những cái gì các con có thể research được và dựa trên bài giảng của thầy về ontology. Thì cũng là một dịp để Kim Giang tìm hiểu thêm, đúng không? Con có thể đọc ở trong cái cuốn câu chuyện triết học, đúng không? Có bằng tiếng Việt đấy, thầy cũng gửi cả tiếng Việt cho các con rồi. Thì con đọc về cái thời kỳ mà trước về các cái ông mà trong bài này có nói, đúng không? Thì tìm hiểu khái niệm là bản thể luận là gì, nó ontology là bản thể luận, đó. Người ta thừa nhận ontology là người ta thừa nhận là bất cứ cái gì nó cũng có một cái gọi là bản thể, hay là thừa nhận tất cả mọi người đều có một cái bản chất, đó, bản chất là tốt. Thực ra có cái gì gọi là bản chất hay không thì đấy là những cái nhà mà theo positivism họ không công nhận. Chả có gì gọi là bản chất cả, tôi chỉ biết là ông có cái thể hiện trong cái hoàn cảnh ấy, ông thể hiện thế này, trong hoàn cảnh ấy ông thể hiện thế kia thôi, chứ còn tôi không công nhận. Làm sao nắm được bản chất của ông mà đặt vấn đề đấy. Thì cái nhưng mà trong ngành công nghệ thông tin hay là trong nhiều ngành khoa học thì người ta vẫn dùng cái phương pháp bản thể luận. Người ta giả thiết là có một cái bản thể gì đó, nếu chúng ta nắm được thì chúng ta suy luận ra tất cả những cái hành vi của người đó, hoặc là những cái tính chất của cái sự vật đó. Thí dụ chúng ta biết là cái bản chất của, thí dụ như là nguyên tử carbon là như thế, thì ở trong cái sắp xếp này thì nó sẽ trở thành kim cương, ở trong sắp xếp kia thì nó trở thành than đá chẳng hạn thế. Đúng, hai cái nó đều làm bằng carbon cả, nhưng mà nếu mà nó xếp ở một cái trật tự lộn xộn thì nó trở thành màu đen xấu xí như là than đá. Nhưng mà nếu mà nó xếp theo một cái tinh thể nào đó dưới một cái áp suất rất lớn, bây giờ người ta dùng áp suất rất là lớn để người ta nén carbon lại thành kim cương mà. Ví dụ như là bây giờ tất nhiên là sản xuất kim cương bằng cách ấy thì đắt chẳng kém gì kim cương thật. Nhưng bây giờ thí dụ người ta có chuyện là, ví dụ bây giờ nói chuyện nó hơi buồn cười nhưng mà hơi lạ một chút, tức là ở Mỹ có một số triệu tỷ phú là họ sau khi họ qua đời là họ không chôn, không hỏa thiêu nữa, họ hỏa thiêu xong họ lấy cái than đó, họ lại dùng áp suất để họ chế thành những viên kim cương. Thế mà cuối cùng họ đeo một cái chuỗi lên người này, coi như thành một đồ trang sức, không cần phải vứt đi hoặc là phải chôn chiết làm cho nó ghê rợn, mà làm rất là friendly. Thì đấy nói chơi cho biết thôi, nhưng mà ý nói tức là ở dưới những hoàn cảnh nhất định, đúng không, dưới cảnh áp suất rất là cao thì các nguyên tử carbon được sắp xếp thế nào đó và trở thành kim cương. Còn ở dưới những điều kiện nào đó thì nó xếp lộn xộn thì lại trở thành màu đen xấu xí như là than đá. Đấy, thí dụ như thế. Thì đấy là chúng ta vẫn biết nó là ontology của nó là carbon, nhưng mà appearance nó trở thành kim cương hay than đá là do là gì? do cái hoàn cảnh tạo ra nó, và chúng ta có thể dùng reasoning, tức là dùng knowledge của chúng ta để chúng ta suy là trong điều kiện này thì phải ra than đá, trong điều kiện kia thì ra kim cương. Thì đấy là người ta giả thiết thế, mà trong một số trường hợp thì điều ấy vẫn đúng, nhưng mà trong một số trường hợp khác thì không có bằng chứng, cho nên bây giờ người ta vẫn tranh luận là có bản thể hay không có bản thể. Thì các con thử tìm hiểu, không cần phải tìm hiểu nhiều và kỹ lắm, tại vấn đề này vấn đề rất khó. Thì các con làm một cái research, hai bạn có thể bàn nhau, đúng không, hẹn bàn nhau qua Zalo gì đó, thì các bạn phối hợp với nhau để viết một bài. Thế còn bạn Minh Đức và Minh Anh thì các bạn bàn nhau viết cho thầy một cái về quan điểm của Pythagore, rồi quan điểm thần số học, numerology nhé, tức là thần số học. Minh Đức và Minh Anh làm thần số học này, Kim Giang và Hoàng Vũ làm về bản thể luận này, Diệu Anh và Kỳ Anh thì viết cho thầy về sự tạo thành concept, đúng không? Đấy, quá trình tạo thành concept trong đầu óc của người ta như thế nào nhá. Thế các con làm xong các con viết một cái essay, các con
Thế
gửi cho thầy.
essay khoảng bao nhiêu từ ạ?
Cái đấy tùy con, cái đấy không quan trọng, miễn là có ý là được rồi. Còn thầy không quan trọng về số từ. Tất nhiên là ngắn mà lại nói đủ ý thì tốt, chứ không phải thầy không bao giờ đánh giá theo
Ít nhất là bao nhiêu từ ạ?
ít nhất không có ít. Con có thể viết 2 trang hay 1 trang gì đó được, nhưng mà quan trọng nhất là cái ý con trình bày, chứ không phải là độ dài đó. Đấy. Có thể viết từ 2 trang đến 4 trang để cho nó chắc. Đấy.
2
Ok.
trang đến 4 trang ấy ạ?
Bây giờ con có chat GPT rồi lo gì. Nhưng mà con phải hiểu, cơ bản nhất là con hiểu và con trình bày lại theo bằng ngôn ngữ của con nhá. Nhưng viết phải
Thế
có
nghĩa là nếu như
đầu có
con
đuôi.
dùng ChatGPT thầy cũng không nói gì đúng không ạ?
Hả?
Nghĩa là nếu như con dùng ChatGPT thầy cũng không nói gì đâu đúng không ạ?
Không, nhưng con phải dùng một cách meaningful, nhưng dùng từng đoạn một, chứ con lại ra lệnh cho ChatGPT là thầy tôi nói rằng là viết một bài về quá trình hình thành của concept, tức là ChatGPT nó ra này, con cắt và dán và gửi cho thầy thì vô nghĩa, đúng không? Con phải hỏi, nó phải break cái câu hỏi đó thành những cái nhỏ. Thế xong con phải trình bày tại sao con lại người ta lại phải quan tâm đến the formation process of concept, tại sao, và cái này nó có những ví dụ cụ thể như thế nào, tất cả con phải đặt ra, con sắp xếp lại nó một cách có nghĩa. Tức là thầy thì cho rằng là dùng ChatGPT là rất là tốt, dùng cách có trí tuệ, còn nếu mà dùng mà cắt với dán không thì không ích lợi gì cho con cả, đúng không nhá. Các bạn khác thì cũng dùng ChatGPT được cái gì. Kim Giang, Hoàng Vũ sao, có dùng ChatGPT bao giờ không?
Con dùng rồi ạ.
Thì các con phải tách nó thành ra những cái phần mà con phải đặt những câu hỏi thông minh, và khi nó nhả ra cái gì con phải lấy cái đó một cách thông minh, con không phải là cái gì nó nhả ra mình cũng lấy, đúng không? Thế Minh Đức và Minh Anh cũng vậy thôi nhá. Con nắm được rồi thì thầy sẽ gửi cái bài này cộng với lại cái đầu bài với lại cái slide này để các con dựa trên đấy mà các con làm nhé. Thầy sẽ gửi sớm. Ok, còn câu hỏi gì nữa không?
Ông ạ.
Ok, không có thì hôm nay chúng ta hết. Tức là bài hôm nay bắt đầu là thú vị đấy. Tức là tất cả những cái gì cũ các con cố gắng là làm quen. Thầy cho các con làm quen để mà thấy cảm giác là rất là khó khăn. Thế nhưng mà bây giờ bắt đầu hết cái giai đoạn là mình bắt đầu sắp xếp nó lại, bắt đầu từ từ nhá. Ok, sẽ là thấy bắt đầu các con quen, con tự thấy là triết học là một cái gì đấy rất là hay. Ok, bye bye các con nhá. Thế thì mình gặp nhau vào sáng thứ Bảy, đúng không? Sáng thứ Bảy thì mình sẽ gặp nhau vào lúc 9 giờ. Ok, 9 giờ hoặc 9 rưỡi cũng được, tùy các con. 9 giờ hay 9 rưỡi hơn?
9 rưỡi ạ.
9 giờ hay 9 rưỡi cũng được, cái gì. Ok.
9 rưỡi đi thầy.